everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about your Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog.
And I'm your host, Adam Peddle, and today, guys, we're going to talk about a little problem developing at Blue Jays spring training right now. The Blue Jays coming into spring training in this season knew that they were just going to be rocking with Alejandro Kirk as the primary catcher, but we were hoping that there would be some sort of backup catcher to help him out and provide a little bit of pop with the bat, maybe provide a little bit of defense, but right now, there's still a lot of question marks on who that second catcher is going to be and whether or not they're going to be providing any sort of value to this team. We'll break it down to more. Before we do, hit that like button and subscribe to Blue Jays Today. So first things first, I want to say this, this is going to have an impact in ways that we may not see necessarily on paper. Like when you have a catcher, it's a very important part of the game that's different than like a first baseman or a center fielder. This is someone who's directly dealing with the pitching staff.
Totally.
And you got to have a good relationship. You got to be able to provide something. You're in the lineup because what you can do with the pitching staff, but also it hurts you in other ways too, because unfortunately you are going to have to play in that lineup as a batter. So it's going to hurt the team in more ways than one. But before we talk about all that, I do want to address Alejandro Kirk this spring training right now, because Alejandro Kirk, I got to give him a lot of credit. He's having a very good spring right now.
Totally, man. Yeah, Alejandro Kirk, as you guys know, is my guy. I love him. I've always been in his camp. Very small sample size, 7 games we're talking about here, but he is absolutely destroying the baseball, which we love to see. Let's be completely honest, though. This is a 7-game sample size, and ultimately, I don't think that anyone expects Alejandro Kirk to come out and start batting .333 with an OPS of 954 in the regular season. This is going to be the first year where I think that there are some serious questions about the catching depth. In years prior, I mean, we were living a life of luxury in years prior when you had Moreno and you had Danny Jansen and you had Alejandro Kirk. Long are gone the days where we had all three of them, and now you don't even have Danny Jansen either. It is just Kirk and then Heineman and Christian Bethancourt, which begs the question, and quick shout out here to Blue Jays Nation who wrote this article, but it begs the question, what is that catching situation going to look like? Is the depth good enough? What happens if Alejandro Kirk goes down with an injury, for instance? We've seen him get injured before, not for crazy periods of time, but for smaller spurts, and if that happens, are we really going to be rocking with Heineman and Christian Bethancourt? That's just not something that we necessarily want to see.
Yeah, it's a very fragile thing right now. Kirk has had an injury history in the past, and now what you're asking for, because of what I alluded to off the top, you're asking for Kirk to play more games because of the difference of offensive production you're going to get from Alejandro Kirk and a Tyler Heineman. I mean, we all know Kirk's numbers, they've been kind of tapering off the couple of years, but you're hoping for a little bit of a bounce back. But what you're going to expect from Tyler Heineman right here is a well below average bat, a low 200 bat with a OPS of 571. And then when we brought in Christian Bethancourt, everyone's thinking, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. A career 259 hitter with an OPS of 621. Well, he's also struggling in spring, but again, small sample size. You still got to see if he can be able to do it at age 33, going to be turning 34 this season, right? So there is a little bit of a drop off. So if I'm the Toronto Blue Jays, I go, okay, well, I'm going to have to increase the workload of Alejandro Kirk. He's been here the longest. He knows these guys, and I want his bat in the lineup as much as possible. But as you can see, last year, he had 90 games as a catcher that he started right here, 90 games. And that was with the second half of Danny Jansen getting traded away. And he played about 100 games last year. That was his second highest in his career. In his career high in 2023, he played about 93 games, because it's very similar to this last year, but he had Danny Jansen as well, right? So you're going to probably be asking a lot more out of Alejandro Kirk. And with an injury history, I get a little bit concerned that I don't know if his legs are going to hold up for a full season.
Yeah, 100%, man. And when you look at some of the backup options here with Heineman and Bethancourt, it's not great, folks. They're not even qualified right now on Baseball Savant to see all the percentiles.
Not enough playing time.
But you can kind of squint your eyes. You can take a look and you can see what they would have been. And ultimately, it's just not where you want it. So with all that being said, with the fact that Alejandro Kirk is probably gearing up right now to be playing in well over 100 games, I would imagine.
As a catcher,
right? That's going to have its workload. And then with the backups being Heineman and with Bethancourt, Where are you at with this whole situation? Is this actually something that you're worried about walking into opening day?
Like a little bit, right? When I look at the Blue Jays lineup right now this is projected by Fangraphs. They right now have Alejandro Kirk slotted in at the 6th spot. That's with a healthy Dalton Varsho. Now, I have heard from spring training camp that they actually really prefer Jimenez in front of Kirk because they don't want Kirk kind of clogging up the base pass.
Makes sense.
For Jimenez to want to steal some bags and run around freely, right? So if you do have Kirk batting 7, I mean, I would still take an Alejandro Kirk batting 7 over a Tyler Heineman. And if you think about the games, obviously 162 in a year, if Kirk is going to start 110, 120, well, that's 50 or 40 games that you're going to have, at least a Tyler Heineman or a Bethencourt, whoever breaks camp. That's still a lot of games right there. And then to your point, I'm concerned because if he gets hurt, Alejandro Kirk, now you're looking at a full 162 or 100 or whatever it might be, with that guy batting 7th or 8th or whatever it might be every single game. And we're not going to see it right now. And I know it's the bottom part of the lineup, but if you want to have a deep lineup, you want to get anything, Kirk is better than the alternative. And that's very scary for a team that needs offense this year.
And we haven't even really spoken about how even if Kirk is extremely healthy the whole time and, he's on the field, the primary catcher, we still need to see a bounce back from him because last year, let's face it, folks, like he wasn't performing at the level that we hoped or expected from him. We have seen him be an all-star and he is having a good spring. Also, I do want to point out, take this for what you will, looks to be in relatively good shape.
He does.
Like hoping that he's going to be, on the upswing, but you're going to need it because, he was kind of a dead spot, not only just in the lineup, but also on the base pass last year. Right. And that's just not something that we want to see from a guy that's going to be playing, if healthy, 120 games as your catcher, maybe? Like, that could be a reality.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. We have never seen Alejandro Kirk in this position, but like to your credit, he is older now. He's 26 years old, and maybe the legs are a bit stronger this year. We'll have to wait and see, but it could be a very unfortunate reality for the Blue Jays because also, when you lose, if you lose Alejandro Kirk, who's handling the pitching staff?
Yes.
Kirk has been handling Barrios, he's been handling Bassett, he's been handling Gausman, he's handled Alek Manoah when eventually he maybe comes back. Like the drop off in difference of production, if you lose Alejandro Kirk, also great defense, is quite major. And you might not see it on the paper, like because you're looking at the bat right now and you're like, whatever, we can toss that aside. But you're looking at everything else with that entire pitching staff and the defense that he provides. So it's a major drop off, and it could be a problem if we don't get a good backup catcher. Like we kind of need somebody to provide something from that position in case Kirk drops off or gets hurt.
Ultimately, we know who Heineman is and we know who Bethencourt is, and they're not going to be that guy. Whoa, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below to join the action. Only available in Ontario. Must be 19 years of older to participate. Please play responsibly. Now, everyone, back to the content. Right? Like
where do you get that guy? We don't have anybody in our system right now.
We don't really have anyone that is capable. The prospect system is pretty weak at the catching position.
This is it.
And let's face it, folks, we missed the boat. So now you are rolling the dice and you're just crossing your fingers and hoping that Alejandro Kirk can not only withstand 120 games behind the dish, but can do it at a high level. And I guess, you know what? We had to figure this out eventually. We couldn't always just roll with the idea that Kirk can only play 80 games as a catcher or anything like eventually we were gonna figure this out. It's does he have it or does he not? It is still scary, though, and that is the situation that the Blue Jays are finding themselves in.
Yeah, guys, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about the whole Alejandro Kirk situation? Are you concerned? Where would you kind of rank this in level of concern? Please let us know down in the comments down below.
Yeah, please make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe button. $3 a month, become a YouTube member. I didn't thank all of our current YouTube members. You guys are awesome.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
go Jays, go!